Deep in the forest of Whidbey Island, coffee is a way of life. Here, exceptional craftsmen work tirelessly towards one goal: the perfect cup of coffee. Every day, from our farmers in Central America to our valued customers in Hong Kong and beyond, our care and attention to detail sets us apart. We're a family, and our relationships are what make Mukilteo coffee great.
In the very early 80s, I was in Port Townsend, and I didn't drink coffee, and I had heard about this great coffee, Starbucks and at the time Stewart Brothers, which Jim owned, had amazing coffee that was unlike any other that we'd ever had before. And so I wandered into this little espresso place, noticed the vibe was completely different from a bar. Everyone was happy and talking, and it was amazing. So I ordered a cafe latte and sat at my table, and when it arrived, I mean, it looked beautiful, and I took one sip from it and was completely blown away.
I did drink coffee in college because I was one of those people that would stay up all night to turn in papers due the next day. But I really didn't drink good coffee until my first year of college. I got a job at what was then called the Wet Whisker at Pier 70 in Seattle, and it would eventually become Seattle's Best Coffee. And that's where I worked throughout college and then after I graduated, and that was 35 years ago.
It just sucked me in. I knew at that moment it was love at first taste, and that's the gospel truth. I was so blown away by a product, and it was just an epiphany, basically. I knew that I wanted to make coffee my life at that moment, and I had at that time had a grocery background too, so it was just very fitting to be able to fall in love with that. Well, between my wife and I, we started going about 4 years ago. I decided, after buying coffee from brokers wasn't working out, because you're basically buying coffee that they taste, and none of it was really suiting our palates. It's like Jim said, we knew what coffee used to taste like when it first came to Seattle, and we're getting that now, and none of the brokers had that. And so Jim, who had sold his business to Starbucks and did quite well, I decided what better person to show us, anybody can buy farm direct, but you got to buy from the best farms. Jim has a 40-year, maybe almost a 50-year connection with these amazing farms that have been passed on into the family. And so, we're all looking for the holy grail of coffee. We found it with Jim's expertise and introducing us to all his farmers, and they're all excited. They're very passionate. So that's basically why we wanted a better product.
I am Luz Marina Trujillo. I belong to a third generation Colombian coffee family. My father came to Costa Rica in 1978 with his brother and bought a farm in Tarrazú area, one of the famous coffee regions in Costa Rica. I used to play with coffee beans instead of dolls. I used to slide in coffee parchment instead of snow. My passion is coffee. Everything around the house was coffee. My father used to talk coffee all the time, and I have that passion. And I came to Costa Rica in 1989, decided to stay 6 months, and that was 25 years ago.
My name is Jim Stewart, and I was the founder of Seattle's Best Coffee back in 1969. And I really had started an ice cream business, as a matter of fact, on Whidbey Island, where Mukilteo Coffee is. So when I went to work for Beth and Gary buying their coffee, it was almost like coming home.
But the biggest challenge was to sell coffee direct to a roaster. That was my dream. And my first client was my actual husband, Jim Stewart. At that time, he was buying coffee in Costa Rica for SBC, and he came to visit Santa Elena, and he was in love with the coffee farm, and not only that, with the owner.
One of the most significant things, again, with making the decision to sell coffee was probably having the ability to travel to Central and South America and actually meet the farmers. Prior to that time, we had purchased all of our coffees through brokers, mostly in San Francisco, and to have the opportunity to go and see the passion and see the quality and visit the farms, you know, the food, the architecture, the hospitality was just like overwhelming.
It's really tough. It's very difficult to sell coffee directly to the roasters, especially when you are a farmer. And what we do there is the whole thing. This is an estate coffee. We have the farm, we have the beneficio where we process the coffee. We ship the coffee directly from the farm. So it has traceability. So it's not easy to find a roaster interested on small farmers or medium farmers. They are used to buy coffee from exporters. But we have everything in Santa Elena, and my desire was to sell directly to the roaster and to see how people enjoyed our coffee and how they appreciate it.
Some of these farmers are people I worked with 35 years ago. So for me, it's very exciting because it's family. I mean, this is a family business for us, and we think of our colleagues in Hong Kong as family, and we think of our farmers as family, and they appreciate knowing where their coffee goes and who we are and who we sell to, and how we take care of it. You know, I mean, they put so much into growing this incredible coffee, and to know that we will continue the integrity of it is super important. But then also that we care about them and who they are, and we want to give back. We don't want to underpay them. We want to be fair, and it's a really good relationship.
If it's grown right and it's roasted right, then and brewed right, it's going to be perfect.
When the green coffee beans arrive, they head to the roasting floor. There, our expertly trained roasters put their skills and experience to work, roasting the beans meticulously to bring out their optimal flavor.
Ninety 90% of the coffee business nationwide or even globally is still bad coffee. So we need to, we need to find a way to get that 90% into trying specialty coffee and not be so intimidating with the methods. So that's why we kind of preach simple methods of brewing, French press. We like single serve, Melita style, and espresso. Coffee is something that is very interesting. It draws you in. You know, we've been in the business so long, we didn't have the internet. So most of what we know, we actually learned from experience. So And you've got to be very careful with the internet because there's a lot of information that it really isn't valid, that people surrender. But experience is the greatest teacher, and that's basically how we learned it, trying everything. So. When we cup coffees, we taste it hot, we let it get warm, and we taste it cold. We cup it cold. A high quality coffee will be smooth at all three temperatures. You can have an inferior coffee that tastes great at when it's at the hot temperature, but as it cools, it brings out the bitters and the defects. So that's just kind of a mark of quality coffee, is smooth at all three temperatures.
For me, the most exciting part of the business is finding the right coffee blend or brewing method for each customer, because I think we all have different tastes and nobody is wrong, but we can find the right coffee for each person, and I love to figure that out. That challenge is something that excites me.
I mean, who wouldn't love it? You know, we kind of take it for granted because we've lived here. But I mean, we have gray whales, eagles, trees, clean air. I mean, it's people vacation here. So, and we live here. What's that tell you? Everybody that works for us, we like to say that they work with us. We have a great family here, and they do an amazing job. We try to have fun, and we try to treat everyone really well, and they appreciate it, and we appreciate them. So it's actually quite fun. We get to meet so many great people. There's so many interesting people that come in here and seek us out, and from all walks of life, really high profile people and really low profile, you know, we're all the same. It's pretty cool.
I am Brenna Perk. I've been working here for 3 years, and I work for Gary and Beth Smith. I manage the cafe. I barista. It's so fun. I work here full time, and I work under Beth and Gary, and they're really good people, and it's really fun. The customers are fun, the coffee is incredible, so that really adds to when you bring someone a good cup of coffee and they look at it and drink it, and they come tell you how good it is. It brings joy. It's like, yes, good cup of coffee. And people tell us all the time, they're like, well, it's impossible to find a good cup of coffee. And it's like, well, just come here.
Our biggest desire was to have a facility where people could actually see us roasting coffee. Most roasters are closed to the public, so that was exciting. We felt like if people could see it, smell it, be around it more, they'd understand what goes into it and appreciate it more. And that was really our first thing. It wasn't going to be to open a cafe. We really wanted to have a tasting room and allow people to understand and see the roasting process. And then the cafe was something that people were asking for. They wanted some good food along with it. So this has just totally been out of request from our customers. They wanted this, and so we made it happen.
From the growers who devote their lives to producing the best beans in the world, To our roasters using authentic European roasting methods to coax the richest flavor from each of those beans. To our shipping team who treats each order with care and attention. To our valued customers the world over who enjoy each sip, we believe Mukilteo Coffee Roasters is a family, and we are honored to share that passion with you.